It's a thing. It's a thing. Are you hitting the tweet buttons?
Yeah, I'm going to it now, looking for
Okay.
tweet. First thing I see is a woman getting tattoo on her
Mm-hmm.
privates. Okay. Thank you, Twitter. All right.
I noticed they're showing a lot more of people you've been following on Twitter. Your
No, that's not.
spicy follows have been showing up on my feed as suggestions.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
oh,
like
that's
they're not
funny.
people you didn't even like it, you didn't even think, but they're just you've been following it, and so yeah. Well, that being said, though,
Mm,
guys, we are live. We are live, and how's it
okay.
been, Mega?
It's been fine. It's been fine. Other
It's
than
been
that, I
good.
just sit there and I was over here drinking my coffee, and I was like, "What is that? What is that?" But
Hmm.
it was some that I was eating, and it was in my teeth, and I guess I didn't pay attention to it because I was like, "What is in my coffee?" But anyway, that was my fault. Anyway, but I've been doing fine, man. Been doing all right.
Nice.
Had a decent holidays, got to spend time with the kids, family, wife, all that. Um, yeah, it was good, real good, real good, real good. My daughter's finna enlist into the army.
Really?
So yeah, and
Wow.
so she's ready to go. She They wanted her to sign up. I wanted to her to go right after Thanksgiving, but she's going to wait because she's going to college as well. So she
Mm,
wants to make sure that she could transfer her credits over to another college, and then she's going to be leaving in the beginning of the year. So I'm looking forward to that. So my
nice.
son got a new job into real estate. So yeah, things is looking up for the kids, and now I'm just doing my thing, man. Just gaming, staying on a diet, taking care of business, trying to do all that. So yeah. How about you? How's everything been going on your end?
Oh, just been busy. Trying to button everything up with the YouTube channels, being consistent and creating that library of content. So it's coming. I know I keep saying it, but
Hmm.
it's been a lot more work than I thought it would be in regards to that. So putting systems in place, so I'm not wasting my time on little things, that sort of thing. And doing a little project. Me and my wife are going to be doing co-streaming tomorrow. So that was a little project I had to put together and just try to link her gaming PC through NDI and all these hoops I had to go through. It just takes time to set up her side of the stream. So that's been exciting, and honestly, just too much work, not enough gaming. You know how it goes,
Right.
and then obviously I'm working on my projects as well. So like my games, so that sucks up a lot of time. So yeah, I've been busy, but it's been a good type of busy. It's been very rewarding, I would say. So
Yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Yeah, everything for Thanksgiving was good. All that, everything on that end was pretty good.
yeah, just cooked a turkey, did some mashed potatoes, did the green bean casserole because I know how much you're a fan of that, but had to man it up a
Oh
bit.
yeah,
I I
absolutely.
had to man it up a bit though. We had to do some
Yeah.
Frito
Yeah, I know
topping
you
on
told me.
there. We had to fix anything with bacon. So I put a lot of bacon in there,
Yes.
and then I didn't cook it in the oven. I cooked it in the smoker with the turkey. So
Very different. Very different. That sounds very manly. That sounds very,
yeah,
very, very much something that I would try instead of just the regular green bean casserole, because that is something that I stay away from like the plague. But I will say I am a big fan of corn casserole. That is a very good side dish for sure.
I haven't
So
done the corn casserole. I will say this though, blueberry cornbread, that's some good shit.
mhm.
You gotta try some blueberry cornbread in your life, there, Mega.
I know
But
you sit there and you mentioned that before.
yeah, it's a
So yeah,
combination you would never think
right.
of it, and then when you put it together,
Yeah,
it's
no,
you're like, oh, well, that just makes sense now. Like once you have it, so.
interesting,
So what's on the docket today?
interesting.
What are we doing on for Devin the Gamer?
All right, so we're gonna be talking about some Halo. We'll be talking about the VGAs. We'll be talking about the big three: Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation,
Okay.
and Callisto Protocol. Um,
Okay.
We'll get into that a little bit. Pretty interesting news about that game for what they're going to be doing with their DLC. Before I get started, though, I do want to let you know the time is right for you to give The Witcher 3 another opportunity, another chance, because the update's coming here in about 2 weeks. I'm so excited for it. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. But I
Yeah.
know that I just can't start playing it because you know how if I get back on that game again, you know what time it is. Like,
Well, it's the type of game I
I'll
think
just
I
be
would have to plan out if I was going to invest into it,
right.
sort of thing, just
Yeah,
because of how
yeah,
long it is.
yeah.
Here, I haven't been able to get into The Witcher. I've tried. I've tried like 4 times,
I know. I
and
know.
and
I know.
every time I'm like, can I just? I just want to like a more focused story. Like they do like open world story elements, probably the best I've seen out there. Um, but I for whatever reason I just can't get into it. And then when he started talking about what's her name, he's like she smells like lilac, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just just can't do it, man. I can't do it. I like the Netflix show before Henry Cavill left. I actually enjoyed that,
Right.
but I haven't been able to get into Witcher. Maybe I'll give it another shot. It depends on what our audience says in the comment section below if I should give it another shot or not.
You should.
But it's a big
You should.
investment. It's a big investment of time. Is the
It is
problem?
it is an
Yeah.
investment, and that's why I will start it, but I will not get to a certain point where I know I'll continue to keep playing it because you ain't going to see me because between that, Midnight Suns, yeah, no, there's not going to, I'll be offline, making people think I'm not gaming, but you'll still hit me up. Because it's funny because every time that, and there's sometimes that I'm not here, but there's other times that like I'll be playing something.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last game was Persona 5 Royale. And then you went bloop bloop. I said, Don thinks that I'm gonna pretend like he that I'm not here. Bloop bloop. I said, damn it, he knows I'm here. He knows what I'm doing. So it's pretty funny.
I
but
know
yeah.
sometimes there's a delay on Xbox when you've shut off your game and it still shows you're playing it. No,
Oh, man.
mostly because I forget who I invite to the party. So I'm like going through my list. I'm like, did I invite Mega? I'm gonna feel like an asshole if I didn't invite him. So I throw you another invite.
Oh, my
That's what goes on.
That's pretty funny.
So yeah, or if I'm playing a game, you see if you want to join and throw a single invite. I try not to do the repetitive invite thing. I think that's kind of
Oh yeah, no, that yeah, no,
rude-ish
but
if people have
I
stuff
get
to
it.
do and all that sort of
Yeah.
thing. But no, I mean the
Yeah.
attention is always like one party invite, one game invite, and if you're game, you're game. If you're not, you're not. I get it. So,
Yeah. No.
but I Persona, I'm pretty sure. Like I'm like I pretty much count on you're not going to be not going to be there. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm done with it now. So I mean, so yeah, no, I'm free. I'm free. So
Okay.
I'm on the multiplayers heavily. So
We need to do a co-op
Battlefield.
experience. We haven't done that in a while. So
I know you keep talking about co-op. I just rather just play the multiplayer of Halo unless we got 4 people. Or are you just talking about playing something else co-op? Okay,
it can be
I'm
anything.
cool
Yeah,
with that.
I mean Halo could be one
Yeah.
of those things, but as far as all that stuff
I mean, yeah,
goes.
we got people on it because now I put that in the same kind of space like with Sea of Thieves, where if it's just us two, I'd rather have a crew because I've beaten Halo now, what, 3-4 times? Halo Infinite like 3-4 times. I kind of don't want to just go through it again. But if there's people who hasn't played it or hasn't experienced the co-op yet, then I'm totally down for it. But other than that, I just rather just jump in and play the multiplayer or like Back for Blood. We said we was going to try to run that. I still have that installed.
I did that
Gears
for
multiplayer, something like that. I'm down for that for sure too.
Yeah, I did the Back for Blood for the Halloween times, and Halloween's over now. We're already into Christmas.
Okay. So I can so I need to uninstall. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, you can delete it until next October.
Oh my gosh, disrespectful.
We gotta have Halloween games, man. So
yeah. All right.
So
So let's start off with the Callisto Protocol
Okay.
because every time that I see this game, it blows my mind. Like it looks absolutely fantastic. And what's crazy is because me and you both, and this is weird for me because I don't know how you were about horror games, but that used to be my jam. That's all I used to really, well, I used to play more than that, but that was one of my most anticipating and hyped up genres was horror next to fighters in sports games. I love those. I love horror games. I don't know what happened over the years. I guess I've just gotten old and scary. I have no idea, but I'm just not into the scary games like that anymore. And so, but
I
every
think
time
it's
that I look
too
at
many
Callisto,
near-death experiences with clowns with you is what it is.
probably that, yeah, going to see it and you know for a bet and all that. Yeah, I think that that damn near killed me. That did. So regardless, but I I keep looking at Callisto Protocol. Looks really good. Um, looks like one of the best games, one of the best looking games that we've seen yet this generation. But there's some controversy with it, and I didn't know about this until last week. Um, and that's got to do with its DLC. Okay, so like some of the
Yeah.
uh, uh, death scenes, or you know, the scenes where they're where you're getting pretty jacked up. What seems to have happened is that some of those scenes that we've seen are going to get transferred over to DLC. You'll still have those scenes where you get messed up by the enemies and things like that. Before the more brutal graphic scenes, they're holding it off on for DLC. I don't know how you feel about that, but for me, I don't know. I kind of found that to be a little bit weird. And if the DLC is successful, because I do think the game is going to do decent, going to do pretty well.
Hmm.
But if people are all in for that, will this be a trend? And if it is, how do you feel about that?
It's weird, right? Because if you're doing games as a
Yeah.
service, you have to have content at least in the pipeline. Does that make sense? So you don't have
Hmm.
these weird lulls. In certain games I've had, that call themselves the games as a service, but it's games as a service without the service, right? If you know what I mean, right? Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, but the problem is if you're talking about animations that they've already showed, right? That means they're done.
Right.
So you're intentionally holding content away for a DLC. That doesn't come off as a consumer first move, right? And you when you're doing these things, and I have no problem with companies making money, finding creative ways to make money, that sort of thing. But it should always be like a consumer first type way of doing it. And so I can't think of a logistic reason why to do it the way they're doing outside of this is the way they thought they could make more money. And this is comes down to one of my frustrations in the industry. There are marketing people. That's their job is to figure out how to in finance people figure out how to chop up a game to make more money off it over the long term. And I think they come from a perspective of, oh, someone would pay for this skin, so why wouldn't they pay for this animation, sort of thing. And I think it's a left hand not talking to the right hand sort of thing, and I think it's just a bad move. I have no problem with them making money, and no problem, if it's a good game, spinning full pop, as long as it's not that $70 window that some companies are trying to push. But this whole when it's content, it's already done, it's ready to go. It's like the code's like in the game, sort of shit. But we're just gonna hold it back from you. I think that this it leaves a bad taste with the consumer. It affects consumer trust in regards to that, and I don't think it's the right way to doing it. And as I said, get more creative, find better ways of doing it. But this is not the answer as far as I'm concerned. So
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Like I remember when Street Fighter Cross Tekken were and I'm sure there may have been some other games like that. But I remember that the controversy was pretty stark at that time when uh when that type of content was being released and it got leaked out that those characters were already uh made. Like they weren't, they were already held back and Capcom just didn't release them until they released it into like some DLC, and people were pretty upset about that. And the game suffered uh sales wise because of it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't, yeah, and that was back during the 360 PlayStation 3
that
generation.
affects consumer
Um
trust, right? Like,
yeah,
you
right,
know,
right, right.
and it should be, in my opinion, a company's goal should be to get people as excited as you possibly can for a release of a product, right? And nothing get in the way of that. And these sort of things, when they come out, they kind of slow down that momentum that you have in something like this, and that's kind of an issue in my view.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. That's I don't know. Like I just don't understand that. Like I get the point of it because they want to make more money off of the game, and maybe they want to kind of make things more fresh
Mm-hmm.
because of however they'll expand the story. You got these different type of animations to happen within the game that just kind of gives a fresh a feel to it. But I just feel like if it's already being done, release it. And if you need to take more time of doing your DLC, yeah, I think that gamers are accepting to that as well. I don't like the thought of you wanting to take certain things, hold it back like that from your consumer that is trusting your game and also paying $70 for that title.
Well, it's all it's
We
it's
get
all
right back to that $70 thing. Like, I mean,
yeah.
what are you asking me to do now? Like, I mean, you want to nickel and dime me on top of paying you this extra $10 for a game? I It just comes back to that point. If this is a $60 game, they're doing something different to maybe counteract against the extra $10 for the title. Okay, I mean, I'm still not the biggest fan of it, but okay, I'll roll with that. But you're asking me for $70 and you're going to hold back content for me to pay you more money on top of the $70. I don't know. I can't co-sign that. I can't co-sign that. As much as beautiful as that game is, and I know that that team is talented and they're just starting off and they want to get their game to be a hit. But just for me personally, I just look at that as just kind of like you do. It's just like, come on now, come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
the thing is, they're
yeah,
also showing things now that people are excited to, are expecting to see now, right? Like let's say
right.
the number one no thing that you've seen all last generation, right, is when they introduce something and then something has to be scaled back, right? So this is like a
Mm-hmm.
case where they're scaling
Mm-hmm.
back the content of the official release, but they're showing you these animations you're excited about. What happens when you only get one of those animations or two of those animations at launch, right? Just being
Right.
hypothetical, that's going to be disappointing to the end user, and that just that just sucks in regards to that. So that loses that momentum on a new IP. It loses that momentum of getting people to trust that initial kind of vitamin B boost when a product launches. It just there's these decisions that are made, I think, in a vacuum, right, without everything else taken in consideration. And with those sort of approaches, I think these companies will pay the price for that sort of thing. But companies that get it just release a final product, and then next thing you know, you don't even promise DLC. You just give them something, you know, 3 or 4 months down the road that's completely new and add to it. Boom, they're like, oh, that's cool. You're excited, right? In regards to that, so it's interesting in regards to it.
Yeah. That's interesting. I just, yeah, I kind of look at that as it's just weird. I hope that this is not a trend going forward to just kind of nickel and dime gamers. But if this is successful, and the game looks really good. I mean, I want the game to succeed. I want the studio to succeed, but I just don't want this to be one of those type of things that um, that other studios will piggyback off on, and then publishers will look at this as like, well, let's do this because this is another angle that we can use to
Yeah.
get more money from our consumers. I just hope that this won't become a pattern
I mean,
like
there's
that. So
nothing
I don't
wrong
know.
with the publishers trying to find ways to earn the consumer's dollar, right?
Right,
But the key word
right.
is
Yeah,
earn, instead of feeling like the hand's being forced in these
right.
situations. So yeah, I mean, remember when we talked about loot boxes, right? When everyone was up in arms about loot boxes, and I was saying, well,
Hmm.
hold your horses, look at the situation as a whole, because loot boxes weren't that bad. They really weren't. Uh,
Right, right.
in regards to that, and try not to have like a knee-jerk reaction to these situations, because nothing's going to stop these companies from continue to try to find unique ways to make money, right? So
Hmm. Hmm.
you as a consumer, like, consumers have a say, but what would be good is if consumers speak out in ways that gives them ideas that other consumers are on board with. Otherwise, you're subjected to their creativity, and the creativity might not be something you like. It might be something worse. I'd rather have loot boxes than this, to be honest with you. Right? Like,
Yeah, no, no, yeah, no. That's what I was trying to argue with some other content creators out there,
yeah,
was saying, look, don't keep wishing for these things, or you'll get something worse. It's they're optional. Let people just make the option for themselves. Now, pay to win is a different thing. I totally agree. That should never be in any type of game.
yeah,
Um, but the option for someone, if they want to spend
yes.
money, they don't have the time to go through the game and put in however many hours that they need to do to in order to get the perks that they want. Let them pay the money if they feel like that's what they want to do. If they invested in the game that much to do it, then it's there. Well, and then the pushback would be like, well, that's predatory. That's, what about kids and things like that? Well, then my pushback was always like, look, if you let your kids go through your account, everything, there's always mistakes that happens, right? Like, I mean, you could go in there and you might have your information into your consoles, or PC, whatever, Steam account, Epic, whatever, and then your kid goes crazy and do something. Then that's you as a parent to make sure that that kid never does it again.
Well,
Like, I mean, the companies and publishers are not supposed to be your parents. It's you that's the parent. So don't give me that excuse about what if kids make this decision. I mean,
you're
there's got to be some kind of responsibility
you're
there.
responsible for your own credit card.
Right,
Right.
right. You're
So
responsible for it. Right,
I don't hand it out
right.
to a friend and say, "Why don't you buy yourself a bagel?"
No,
How about I'll buy you a bagel? I'll take the card
right,
and do it. Right.
right,
So
right.
that's the difference. I think what people need to understand. So we've had a lot of these additional ways for these companies to make money. I think the
Mhm.
conversation needs to be more steered towards, okay, which one of these things was, now we have some perspective, some time has gone by, right? Which
Right.
which one of these ways these companies have made, try to make additional money, works for you as a consumer in the
Right.
long run, and in what games did it best in regards to that, right? So people are getting sick of season passes right now. I get you,
Yep.
right? Like, I totally get it. I don't like season passes either. In regards to it, because I never get any content that's really worth my time for the effort that I put into it, right? But
Mhm.
I would say my favorite business model that's been out there was on Halo 5's loot box system. You can play the game and you can earn everything without spending a single dollar. And the games that as long as it's not a private game, because you've experienced that, um but if it's just a regular multiplayer game and you're doing, I didn't spend a single dollar on any of the DLC, but I'd offered value to 343 by keeping the player base live, right? And so,
Right.
like, we both win in that situation. And for those that don't have the time to put the same amount of time into Halo Infinite, they can buy the loot boxes. Now, what tiered loot boxes they wanted to do and gamble on, that's up to them. You know what I mean? If they want to roll big, they can roll big. If they want to roll small, they can roll small. Like, it can go either way, right? But you're always guaranteed something.
Yeah. And look, I support it. I'm a fan of season passes,
You like season passes? That's your
because for
favorite?
me, yeah, well, yeah, because I love it with fighters, because I know that they're extending the life of that particular fighter, or
Yeah. Okay.
sports game, things like that. But when it comes to multiplayer games like, Call of Duty, with shooters, things like that, Battlefront, Battlefield, I like I prefer the loot box system a lot better. I think,
Okay.
because that's just, for me, it's just to make that decision, or if I got enough time to where I'll invest into that game like that, let me earn it, and give me the option. But now it's got to the point to where, like, nah, we're just going to let you just pay for it if you want it that bad. It I don't know. I never I liked the loot box system, a situation, a hell of a lot better than what we're seeing now, and they're going to keep trying and trying other ways and angles in order to find what they're trying to, in order to try to get something to stick, like loot boxes or the pay to win factor, so they can just get people to keep on just spending the money that they're doing. Like the free to play aspect, we'll definitely see more of that with certain genres of games, because that model seems to be the perfect recipe for what they want to do. But with storied games, things like that, they're still trying to find that that same type of niche. And if what's going on with Callisto Protocol works, I can't co-sign that, and I will be a person that, and a person, I stick to my guns. I'll just wait. I'll wait for a sale, or I'll wait
Yeah.
till I get the complete bundle, the year later, 6 months later, 7 months later, whatever, when it comes on to one of these sales, and then I'll get everything into one package, that way, because I just feel that if you're going to charge me $70 for these games, and then and if you're gonna put in DLC, things like that, that's fine. That's why, you got the deluxe or the ultimate editions. But to hold things hold things back like that, I don't know. I'm not co-signing that.
Well,
I'm just
it
not.
makes you stall, right? It makes you think twice. A game that you were
Yeah.
hyped
Yeah. Makes
on
me
a
think twice.
genre
Yep.
that you stop playing, and now they're like, I'm like, well, maybe I'll wait until they figure it out. Like that's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's disappointing. That's so disappointing in regards to that. And so you never want to make your customers hesitate. You know what I mean? You want to keep them
Right.
hype until they spend that dollar. And if you can't keep them hype until they spend that dollar, you've kind of messed up. That's why I feel like there's these games as a service, there's DLC, but I feel like sometimes there's value in just giving someone a complete, finish, solid experience from start to finish, right? If you can do that, guess what? Now you stand out over all these people that haven't done a good games as a service, or people had a bad experience with the games as a service, and so you're like, what, I can trust this, right? And so I don't know. It's disappointing that they did that. I mean, I understand them wanting to make money. I have no problems with them being creative, making money, but this is not the answer. This is not the
Yeah,
solution.
no, I totally agree.
So,
I totally agree. All right, so let me ask you this question. We'll get ready to move on.
sure.
But when we go and we look at everything as it stands, within, um, gaming as a whole right now. Do you feel that gaming is in the best place that it's ever been, or do you feel that the old ways were still,
Mm.
the it was still the best? I mean, because gaming is bigger than it's ever been, but it's also things like expansion packs and DLC and loot boxes, pay to win, all these new different types of methods and things that they've been using now. Is it Do you feel that, like, gaming now is tarnished behind it, or do you feel like the old way is still the best way, where you just buy a game, uh, get the product, and then just keep it moving? If they have an expansion or something like that, just wait till they make another title, or what? How you feel about that?
I feel like, just like how like certain genres never die in gaming, I think
Hmm.
certain business models never die. right?
Mhm.
In regards to that, doesn't mean there's not room for other business models that make sense for different types of customers. I think the industry does need to expand in those areas so we don't keep recycling the same gamers, and
Mhm.
also so we don't lose gamers over time. In regards to that, so there's things that are doing really really well, but I think the industry is in an experimental stage, and it's not one size fits all for every type of game, and so because of that, the consumer is left kind of guessing if this is the right type of product for me or not. So that structure, I think gamers like structure, right? Especially console gamers, right?
Right.
When they buy a console, they're just like, what do? I get the box, I plug everything in, I'm done. Right? It gives them that structure in regards to that. And doesn't mean you can't have multiple tiers, like Xbox the way they did with the Series S and X, right? Still structure. This one's more powerful, better graphics. This is less powerful, but you spend less money, right? But you can play whatever. So it's easy and quick and easy for consumers to pick up, and I think that's very crucial, very important on all this stuff. But yeah, I think from that perspective, the consumer trust was much higher back then, in
Mhm.
regards to that. And but I feel like we have to do these experiments because I believe in really the Phil Spencer vision, which is got to grow the pie, right? The whole 2 billion gamers that everyone made fun of them for, and now it's now 4 billion. That's now the goal and the number that they're shooting for, and it's about keeping them retention. I think there's something for that, but it's just a lot of discovery. We have to go out there, and with that, there's going to be a lot of swing and misses, right? I mean, in regards to that, I mean, me personally, my product, and this is where I run into probably a little bit of issues when it comes down to funding for my project down the road. Is going to be, I want it to be a simple. You get what you get. This is the how much it cost at launch. I hope I earned your dollar. You know what I mean? I hope I interest you.
Yeah.
You bought it, but what I don't want to do is any bait and switch or any DLC, any multiplayer, just because it's not that those things are not fun or not enjoyable, but I feel like there's a lot of companies that can do that better than I could, and I can just do a good start to finish experience, and concentrate my effort there and try the best experience that I'm capable of doing within those boundaries, in regards to that. So because I don't want to compete with a
Okay.
Destiny, I don't want to compete with
Right.
say Anthem 3 or you know what I mean. Like I'm not gonna be able to compete with those. So
All right. All right. Okay. So let's move on. We're at this time of year, to where I think that we can give a letter grade for Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. I think that there's still some games that still slated. I think most of them are third party. I don't know if there's any more first party titles that's going to be coming out at the end of the year for either of these companies. But if
okay.
there is, then I don't think at this point it really matters because you know. Uh, anyway, so let's start off with Nintendo. Don, what do you feel that you feel like the letter grade for Nintendo this year,
What,
for 2022,
what did
and
they
what do you
release
think
this
is the
year?
standout, and what do you think? Well, they released quite a bit. See, now you're gonna make me go out here and look it up. Okay, so I should have
Well, I
done
want to be
that.
fair, even though I haven't played a Nintendo product for years. I still want to be fair to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I know Bayonetta 3 was one.
Okay.
Xenos, was it Xenos Saga? I forget because I want to get that game. I haven't got it yet.
Okay.
The Pokemon, they brought out two Pokemon games. They brought out the one Pokemon Azus or something like that, and then there was a Pokemon Scarlet and
Those were
uh
somewhat controversial too
what
for them, right?
well
Amongst Pokemon fans, I should say.
the last one that just came out, it was because it just was buggy. It didn't have a lot of it didn't
Gotcha.
it wasn't performing very well, but the game still sold over 10 million copies in 3 days, and I mean it's still a juggernaut. The other Pokemon game, I don't know how much it sold, but it still was pretty popular. Splatoon 3 came out, and then there was a couple of more. I'm finna go look at the rest while you go ahead and just for the games that I've listed that's come out. And then of course, like sales wise, it's hard to keep a Switch in stores. They're selling like gangbusters, even though it seems like we're at the end of the Nintendo Switch era. Pretty
Yeah.
much the new console will be at least announced next year. So what is your thoughts about Nintendo's 2022?
I think I would have to give them like a B plus. In regards that they created the content that their consumers look for, right? Is their traditional IPs,
Mhm.
which put Pokemon, regardless of all its faults, it's still Pokemon that obviously resonates with their probably the younger. It's a generation younger than me as a Nintendo fan. You know what I mean? In regards to, but that's a big title for them. Bayonetta, good game, but it's not like your typical first party Nintendo sort of product. So good, but that doesn't get makes them a little bit short from that A score. In regards to, did they release new hardware? Was last year or was it this year with the Switch Lite?
That was last year.
That was last year. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
I would say good B minus. I mean, they're continuing to bring out content that people buy Nintendo products for. So I mean, I can't really fault them for that in regards to that.
Okay. So I'm going to name off the names of the games. Okay. So Fire Emblem Warrior, Three Houses, Dragon Quest Treasures. Let's see. That's
Yeah.
a third party. So I'm not going to read that. Let's see. Kirby's Dream Buffet.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Triangle Strategy, Mario, Rabbids, Sparks, and Hope. Of course, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Bayonetta 3, Nintendo Sports, Switch Sports, and then the Pokemon Legends, and then that's like Arceus or something like that. Xenoblade. Forgive me for saying that the name of that game wrong because I always want to say Xenogears because that's one of my favorite games, but that was on PlayStation many moons ago. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Splatoon 3, Mario Strikers Battle League, Helstella. I don't know if that's on anything. It might be on PC and PlayStation, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that. Um, and let's see, all the rest of the stuff that I'm seeing right now is pretty much second and third party.
Yeah. I mean, that,
But
and that's
that's a
decent.
pretty strong list, though. That's a strong list,
That's
right?
decent, but it's not your super strong IPs. Like it's not a traditional Mario game. It's not a traditional like Mario Kart game. It's not a Legend of Zelda or a Metroid, right? You get one of those in there with what they've already put out this year. I would definitely give them an A. In regards to that. So, but they
Okay.
didn't have that. So I think it's fair. In regards to give them like a solid B. It's not a bad score by any means, of course. So
Okay. Yeah, no, that it was slated for Nintendo to come out with the Zelda game this year, but they pushed it back. A lot of people are assuming that they're going to make that a launch title for the new uh, console or Switch 2, whatever that is going to be.
yeah.
Which is smart. You normally you would think that they would do what they have been doing is release it and then have it and then kind of port that over and charge again. But I guess they're just not done with it. But for me, I'm gonna give them an A. I'm giving them an A minus because the reason why I will give them a minus instead of a plus is because of what you said. Because there is no big time Mario game, big time Zelda game or Metroid, even though Metroid and Mario came out last year because I picked up the Bowser
Yeah.
game last year. But yeah, but I mean that list is strong, man. I mean that Fire Emblem Warriors, Three Hopes. That's a big title, but the biggest title for sure, and that is a game that's up for Game of the Year nomination. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That's a huge game for them. That game is done very
Yeah.
well for them. And Bayonetta 3, I was going to get that game. That was going to be my first Nintendo Switch uh, game that I was getting day one. And then of course, I know that we're on different
Different
sides of that,
pages,
but
but yeah,
I
we don't have
still,
to get into
yeah,
that.
different pages. Yeah. But I still side with the voice actress. But yeah, but that's still a big title. And then of course, like you dropped two Pokemon games within the same year. That's pretty special. And then of course, just for everything else that they've added that was second and third party, they even got and that I did not know that was A Plague's Tale Requiem. So that's impressive.
Okay, cool.
There's a game that I wish that would come on Xbox. It's Tokurin Randu Warriors. That's kind of like in the same wheelhouse as like Destiny Warriors, or Dynasty Warriors, stuff like that, or 99 Nights. If you played, I'm
I
sure
played
you played
99
99
Nights.
Nights.
Yeah, that's actually
Yeah,
one of my
yeah, it's in that same
first.
type of wheelhouse.
That was my first 360 game I've ever played.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
all right. So yeah, so no, I give it an A minus, and also they had Tunic, and then of course Cuphead, and then of course everybody's favorite My Little Pony, so the Maritime Bay Adventures. So they get an A, they get an A minus from
yeah.
me.
Like the weird thing is, it's like they're Nintendo titles that people that subscribe to Nintendo play, but as
Mhm.
me is like the things I'm fan of Nintendo, like none of those games are games that I'm a fan of Nintendo of. Does that make sense? So that's why I
Yeah,
said
right,
like
right.
so I have to acknowledge they're good. But
Yeah, these are just opinions. It's not
yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah.
so
So
nobody
that's
should
why I
rip
say
you because of your
yeah,
opinions. Yeah,
it's
so
just a
right.
solid B. I get your A minus on it, but I think they delivered for their
Mm,
fans. For their fans, I mean, there's no way you can't
right.
say they didn't deliver. So
Right, right. Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. Okay, so let's move on to Sony. And I needed to be putting these games out here because I really don't need to do that for Xbox this year. But so but let me drop that so we know for sure for 2022. Let's see. Okay, so of course we got Gran Turismo. Then you also have Horizon Forbidden West. You got God of War Ragnarok that just released. You have The Last of Us remake. Sifu, which is a timed exclusive, whatever, but that's still exclusive at this. Well, it's on Nintendo. It's on Nintendo as well, but it's labeled under PlayStation. You got Sifu. You have Stray. And there's some other titles. I'll read some more when I finally look into it. But um, what do you give their list for just the games that I've listed right there and off the bat? Overall, what's
uh,
the grade?
just in general, I would give it like them a solid A this year too as well. Like, but there are
Hmm.
things that kind of bring it down a bit. In regards to that,
Okay.
so like the the issue with raising prices, I gotta knock you down. Gotta knock you down. Like that's not a consumer first sort of thing. I get it. You're taking care of your bottom line, but it's not a consumer first sort of thing, and that's a little bit of an issue. Um, the they're good games. Like I would say this is probably the best Gran Turismo that's been released in a while because a lot of them have been very lackluster on the content wise. So this one is at
Hmm.
least a little bit more flush in regards to that. But it's not hitting with their consumers nearly as much as you would expect with the Sony gamer. So I have to weigh that into things, right? Like, yeah, these are
Hmm.
typically games that Sony gamers talk about, but they're not coming out in the numbers to buy and purchase them or play them, right? They're successful titles. I'm not saying they're not successful. It just not as successful as their stuff has been in the past. In regards to that, so like Horizon Zero Dawn, that's the game I'm excited for. I'll play when it's ported over to PC. Um, you have obviously a title with Gran Turismo. That's a big one. And they have good third party support. So I mean, I would have to give them like a B plus. In regards to that, normally I would give them an A, but all those factors, I gotta knock them down a bit. Um, especially the pricing. The pricing is little bit of an issue. And then the gamers are not coming out to buy them. That's a you know that speaks volumes, unfortunately. So
Okay. All right. I will too give it a B plus. If game wise, it's an A plus because I mean you have the big three plus you bring a remaster or a remake to one of your most beloved franchises,
yeah,
then I mean that should be like that. That's an A plus game wise. But again, this is overall. This is an overall.
yeah, it's a
So
platform.
so I give it yeah overall for the platform, and I agree with you 100%. Um, I mean, and I forgot Babylon Falls. Babylon Falls is another exclusive for
Okay.
PlayStation. I, it's the same thing. Like, I mean, the pricing, like the $70 price range. And I think that overall has hurt Sony of some of Sony's titles because of the fact that that 10 extra dollars goes a long way, man. I mean, especially when there's still more people that has a PlayStation 4 that doesn't have a PlayStation 5 yet, and if they can still have that same experience, regardless if not, of course, it's on new better hardware, so it's going to perform so much better than it is on a PlayStation 4. But as we know, that consumers they don't really care about that. As long as they can get their hands on some titles, they're not as hardcore as maybe me and you or
Mhm.
others that listen to this type of stuff that or read into it or or that get in social media and talk about gaming. They're not into that type of stuff like those people are. So they like the casual market, as long as they got access to play the game is going to still be entertaining to them. And if they see that they could save $10 on that title, then by all means that's what's going to happen. And so I just um, the pricing, and I've also had like Cali Rex and others that try to tell me that. Well, didn't tell me. I totally agree with them on it, but I still just look at it as a console consumer. When you have like the VR that was supposed to be coming out last year, it's still not out, and then
Oh, so yeah, so you
it's
have
going
to
to be
grade them on this year because gotcha, because it was supposed to come out this year
right.
because of the delay. Gotcha.
Right. It was supposed to come out. It was supposed to come out this year, and then it didn't. And then you find out that it's $500.
Yeah.
And then so if you want to get a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 5 without the disc, you're still going to be paying upwards of $950 to over to $1,050. And that's not including the games that you're going to be playing. So it's kind of weird to me. Their strategy. It's and then of course with the ABK deal, how they are the market leader in the way that they've been acting with Microsoft and trying to stop the whole Call of Duty situation. Just leaves
Oh
a bad
yeah,
taste in my
there's that.
mouth
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So like, I mean, I'm pretty sure like there'll be comments from people that will probably give them a C or whatever. But I'm giving them a B plus because they still came out with
They
some
still
really
came with
strong
product.
titles.
Yeah, they came with
Yeah, they
product.
came out with some strong product. Yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah. So
and sometimes product doesn't hit. It can be a really good product, and sometimes it doesn't hit, right?
yeah,
So,
right.
but I try to look through a lens of somebody that's a little more diehard PlayStation, and I have to think, man, that has to factor into it. Um,
Right.
the and I guess the next one's Microsoft, right?
Yeah, the next one is Microsoft. What is your letter grade for Microsoft in 2022?
C plus. They're my low score, and I haven't been.
Okay.
I'm not
B
unhappy.
plus.
C
B
plus. No,
plus?
C plus.
Oh, C plus, C plus, C plus. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right. All
You
right.
got a flat B, you got a B plus, right, and then you got C with
Mm,
Microsoft. And the
okay.
reason why I say that with Microsoft, I mean, obviously, I as a Microsoft customer, I've had plenty of content to play. So like, it's not like I'm like, woe is me, I don't have content to play on the platform or anything like that. But
Right.
now that I reflect
Right.
back at it, I'm like, oh, there wasn't anything overly new and spicy on the console, right? I
Right.
I was content. So that's why I say it's a very average. My experience has been good on the platform in regards to that. And Game Pass continues. The reason why Game Pass is I think they're saving grace, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because that value has been there for me as well. I've been able to, I mean, this whole entire year, um, just did Game Pass and started investing into the stream a lot more, right? Because there's nothing that I felt like I needed to buy in regards to that. So that value has been a huge factor into that. So I'm not unhappy as a Microsoft customer. I'm not like one of those people that's doom and gloom or like they have to have this title out tomorrow. Like they'll get the titles out there when they get out. I know what's coming. There's a lot coming, right? And it's going to be an onslaught. But this is not their B year. This is not their A year. This is a C year. They just kept everything afloat, and and I probably would have rated them a little bit higher with Game Pass, but like just how they manage one of my favorite franchises this whole entire year. I can't even give you a C
Halo.
plus. I can't even give you a C plus.
Yeah.
How it's not even opinionated. It's just been managed so poorly in regards to that. So, and it's given me to a point where I'm playing it just because there's no other Halo really that populates the same like Infinite right now. But it's a very much not your typical Halo experience. I will say that. So
Okay. All right. As for me, I give it a C as well. I find it to be, and I said this at the beginning of the year. Once we first found out that Stalker was not coming, I kind of felt like the writing was on the wall. I was at that time though. I was giving Halo saving grace because of the fact that I was believing that they were going to deliver on their content. And of course they did not. So, but yeah, I mean, if I wanted to go look through Xbox list, the only thing I need to just say is Game Pass. And as you said, Game Pass has kept Xbox for 2022 afloat.
yeah,
And what is miraculous about this year, because if this was last gen and like let's say 2016, Xbox would probably be done. Having a year like this with no AAA games, or really not even having any type of exclusive game to just come out, double A, indie, nothing exclusive wise in that with like that is first party anything like that is insane. And to see what Xbox has done, winning Black Friday. And then it's not so much the Series S just blew up, but the Series X was the most sought out electronic for Black Friday. Like that blows my mind. Like, I mean, it's just it really, but that just shows you the power of Game Pass. And like it was something that I was um that I was over here thinking about earlier, because I knew that we was going to do the show. Was I wanted to make sure that I remembered this, was that it's always been talked about Halo, Gears, and Forza. Xbox has now put themselves to where those games are still relevant. Those games are still very popular, but it's Game Pass that's now the face of Xbox now, because and some people might laugh at that and say that that's a bad thing. No, that's a good thing, because what that does is that gives you Game Pass is everything. That's all genres. That is kind of like getting back to the old 360 era, to where Xbox did have their big titles and people knew about it, but those were those other smaller titles, those arcade games, those cult classics like Wed and Dante's Inferno and other titles like that that had people just like keep coming back to the 360. Game Pass is now resurrected that type of vibe. And for them to not have the content that they were supposed to have this year, and to have the success that they've had, profit wise, uh, Game Pass is still surging. It's not going down; it's going up. And then,
I think there's more to it than just Game Pass. I mean, I know like we're both giving them saving
well, yeah, no.
grace,
I mean, the vibe, the that's what I was going to get into, is that the pricing. I mean, it's the value of it's very consumer friendly, because now you can also lease to own a console. That's something that's really never been heard of. They've been hitting all the right strides, except for the game content this year. And for that, they have to get a passing grade, and a high passing grade at that, which is a C plus, because to have people that still demand the want a console that doesn't have the first party, it tells me two different things. One is that exclusives are important, but they're not as important as content creators and some of the gaming media will perceive it to be. What's important is value. That is the biggest factor, especially in times where people are hamstrung financially, more so than what they have been in the past. So value is always going to be the key to success in my opinion. On that. And that's why Xbox get a passing grade.
I would call it pocket first approach.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft don't care if you have $500 in your pocket. They don't care if you got $300 in your pocket. Right.
Right.
They got options for you. You got less than that and you can't afford a console right here, you got streaming for you, right? You have Game Pass will get you taken care of on that front. And here's the other thing: it's they have third party support. It's been stronger than it ever has been compared to last generation, and I think that plays a lot into it as well. And so all this stuff, is a big portion of it, and they're in the headlines. Like when they're purchasing a company, like they may not know who the company is, somebody that's not totally into gaming, but they're like, oh, Microsoft just bought some huge company. Oh, I'm going to get some stuff, right? I don't know what it is, right? Like it's the type of customer that doesn't look at that sort of stuff. So I think there's all these elements that are going into kind of that upward swing for Microsoft is just content wise. It's just, I've been happy, as I said, like I didn't even think about like it just never ran across my mind. I just, you know me, I play games every week, right? I'm trying new games every week, and and I'm looking for stuff, and like I never felt like, oh man, I really wish I had this product or that product. I just haven't even thought about it. So that's kind of where it's at, and I know next year's gonna be a big year for me. The motorsport, that's something I've been really looking forward to, in regards to that. So that's gonna be a big year. I mean, I think next year's grade is gonna be much higher. But this year, I mean, absolutely. It's a passing grade, as he said.
It's crazy though. It is bananas to think. I mean, that's why I gave him the C plus, is because of the fact of how in the world in a year where PlayStation and Nintendo came out with so much content, that I've been playing more on my Xbox than I have on both of those platforms. And some people will say, "Oh, well, you're because you're an Xbox fanboy or whatever."
That factors into it.
That's not the case. Yeah, I mean,
a little bit. Let's be honest. It weighs a little.
No, because I've been playing on Nintendo. I've been playing on Nintendo and PC more than I've been playing on my PlayStation. But the reason why is because of PlayStation's aggressiveness on pricing. I would have got these games day one, but I have to stand on my laurels. I got to stand up for what I believe in. I am not going to pay $70. And even though Gotham Knights and other games that I have purchased, I didn't pay $70 for those games. I did not. So I got the reward system that I could use as backup. I got rewards with PlayStation. I've got 120 to 30 some games on the PlayStation, and I don't even have enough to buy a Black Friday game that came out this year. It's just not enough. Didn't have enough. So I'm just in the position to wait, and that's and some people might look at that as like, well, you're just being biased towards PlayStation about that. No, I'm not. It's just that when Xbox eventually start raising their prices to $70. I can lean on Game Pass, and I can also lean on to the reward system. I'm still going to keep the same energy, and how I've told you before, though, with PlayStation, if they want me to pay $70 for their games, that is absolutely fine. I'll just go ahead and buy their $70 games on PC, and I'll just skip the console. If saying it's a give or take, and if Xbox decided to just say that they wanted to do something different with the reward system, then I will do the same thing with Xbox. and if Nintendo decides to do the same thing, I'll just wait for sales. And even though they're not, their sales are going
They
to
don't
take
happen.
forever.
They don't happen very
They
much on
don't have
Nintendo.
too many sales, very seldom, but they don't drop them too low. But regardless, I'm not, I get it. That is eventually going $70 is going to be the standard, and you feel a little bit different about that.
No,
But
I don't think it's going to.
I just, you don't think so? So yeah, I know you feel differently about
I think
that. But
people are going to try. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
In regards to it, but I mean, how many third parties you're now seeing drop that price really quick?
The prices drop real quick.
Real quick. They're like,
there's
maybe not. So we'll see.
Now there's been frequent sales here for the last, I say 4 or 5 years. That comes multiple times a year now, kind of like what you get with Steam and Epic. Where you got you got the spring sale, you got the winter sale, you got Black Friday, you have Cyber Monday, you have the end of the year sale, right after Christmas. So, or right during that Christmas, first of the year. So there's frequent sales, but you're right. Like these games that they'll come out at $70, but they'll drop pretty quick.
Well, some within a month and a half with
yeah. I mean,
in that first 6 months,
Gotham Knights dropped to $41. Mm-hmm. They had Sonic Frontiers for $29, and it sold out. I was trying to get it, but I was like, dang, I didn't mind. I was like, for that price, I'll get the hard copy. So yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah. It's dropping like a rock, but to me, it's the pricing of that. That if you want to be that aggressive with that pricing, that's fine. I'll just find other alternatives. My last point on this too, before I'll turn it over to you, was saying that this, okay, so let's see that everything goes to $70, right? As long as you're still putting games out on the Xbox One and on the PlayStation 4, that's my thing to me that bugs me. You'll put those games out there for $60. Those games to me they are next gen, but are they considered truly next gen for putting those games on older hardware?
I don't even know what you guys mean by next gen, to be honest with you.
Well, okay, so but that's what I'm saying. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like for instance, like God of War. God of War is $70 on the PlayStation 5, but yet it's on the PlayStation 4 for $60. That, from people's standards of saying that games are being held back because of older hardware, which I do not believe. And you quote unquote next gen games are only supposed to be on these current consoles. That the pricing does not match all of this hyperbole that's just going on. So that's why I have the biggest problem about the $70 price tag right now at this particular time.
You want to know something else?
If you can follow what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm following what you're saying, but you know what else? It takes more work
to
make the one for the PS4 than it does the one for the PS5.
Oh yeah, no, I totally understand that.
Because you start from the high, end, right? And you have to figure out how to optimize, right? So you have to get clever in regards to that. So that takes a little bit more time in regards to that. So why are we charging $70? So now the lower end console is subsidizing the cost of the higher end console subsidizing the cost of the lower end console. Yeah, it's kind of that's kind of silly to me. I mean, this idea of next gen where things cannot scale, it's just not real. Like I think gamers need to understand that. Like there's the core mechanics of what makes up your game, and then there's all the stuff that it's the pretty eye candy that we like on a game, and that stuff is incredibly scalable. That's your job, as a developer, especially like on the art side of things. My job is to make things scalable in regards to that. I mean, and that's just kind of how that stuff works going forward. So I mean, it's not holding anything back. It does take some resource. It takes a little bit of time in regards to that. And when these companies feel like they're not getting the return on their investment on that time, is when they'll stop making for the previous console. That's how that works. So they don't feel like they'll sell enough copies, they say, on a PlayStation 4, then they'll stop porting it over there. That's the only reason why they'll lose support. So
Right. Right. No, I understand. It I just find it to be ridiculous. Like, I mean, it's you want to try to promote to get people to move on to your newer hardware, but as a consumer, I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, man, I'm paying top dollar for your product, and you want me to pay top dollar for this when I could. No, I think I'll just go ahead and I'll just keep my PlayStation 4 for a little while longer, and just stuff like that. It's just weird. It just the way that their strategy at Sony is kind of weird, and I'm sure Nintendo is going to get into that same type of frame. Maybe not, because their hardware is going to be significantly less than the Series X and the PlayStation 5. But
yeah, we'll see.
can we put this? Can we put? I mean, really? I mean, Nintendo can kind of do pretty much whatever that they want to. Their fan base will eat that up. So I don't know. I'm not.
Every fan
I'm
base has got a
still
limit. We just don't know what it is.
we just don't know what the limit is. We just don't know what the limit is with Nintendo games. We just don't. But
yeah,
we'll see.
exactly.
Maybe the $70 price point will be a limit. I don't know.
Well, and I just don't think it's being very successful. Like, it's being released, but I mean, I'm seeing all these products dropping in price so quick, and that happens because you're not getting sales. If you get where I'm going with that. So, are you better selling, just like simple math, right? Are you better off selling 10 copies at $70, or are you better at selling 200 copies at $60?
Right.
And so that's the idea of volume, right? Like, more volume you have, the more money you can make. And I think, just anything that causes a consumer to hesitate is where you get yourself in trouble. Especially, look at your game too. If your game is a games as a service, shit, man, like that's a bad move. That's a real bad move.
Right.
If because
Right.
you make it up on the long run if you have a product you feel like you can keep people engaged. And I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, I feel like, to be honest with you, I feel like the future of games, like, IPs, and this is not a knock on the quality of products or anything like that. The future of, like, a story-based game, the price point is $50. That's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
That's the sweet spot. You imagine the volume you can get with a $50. I bet you can make more money off selling, like, God of War at launch at $50 than you could at launch at 70.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's they
You make it less per product, right? But you're
less
selling that
less per product,
volume.
but you're selling like crazy, and you'll still end up probably making more at the end, at the tail end of it, than you would, because you want to get all your money up front. But I don't know. Investors are some weird people. I don't know. I'm not one. I mean, some people would probably tell me that I'm talking out beyond my pay grade, but I just look at it from as a consumer. I mean, I'm helping these people maintain to stay rich, and I feel that they're not only they're harming my pockets, but they're harming theirs, because I'm not gonna just bite like that. I'm just not.
Well, I mean, think of the best way for Sony to compete against Game Pass. Game Pass has run away with things on the service side of things, right?
That would be incredible.
That would be the move. That would be the move. Okay,
that would be a great
we
move.
don't have the product like Game Pass. Our games are not day and date in our service, but you can get our exclusives at $50.
Yeah, Sony's just not going to do that. But that would be a killer move.
Yeah,
that would be a killer move.
I mean, I would love to, work with the numbers guys and present that case to them in regards to that, because I think I can make a very strong argument they'll make more money.
God of War sold what, 5.1 million. That would double or triple.
Yeah,
with a $50 price tag.
But then you got the momentum of the fact that they sold 10 million at launch. Get where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
And that feeds into it, and it just feeds that beast in regards to that. And so it becomes the game that everyone has to get. Or let's say they don't have a PS5, but man, I'm going to get that PS5 version, right? And
right. Or you sell it on PlayStation 4 for $50. That you're right. Like, for single player games, that would be a fantastic thing. But again, the people, what people would argue back is that, like, well, all the work that they're putting
Yeah.
into these games because these games look prettier and stuff like that. But Don, you've alluded to how Unreal Engine 5 is much more easier to work with than other engines, and so therefore it's like if things are much more efficient and easier to use, then why not? Maybe come with certain genres of games being at $50.
Well, I mean,
You know that
these
that
big studios
that
are
was
going to
smart.
these big studios are going to implode on themselves. There's no doubt in my mind.
Hmm.
It's not that they say like Sony's Santa Monica studio is not talented or Naughty Dog's not talented or anything like that. But how efficient things are getting and what we're able to do with it, the sheer number of talent you need in the seat is way less than you need to. You can basically create better product than what you're getting right now with literally about 25% less. I mean, 25% of the staff, if that makes any sense. You can those people can go work on a different project, whatever it may be. So to me, like I just feel like the answer's always been if we can lower that price. And the answer has always been, can we get more gamers in the seats? And we are doing it. And so I feel like I feel like the answer is cheaper games in regards, not cheaper in quality, but cheaper games. They'll make it up in volume.
Yeah. Okay. That's a really good point. All right. Yeah, okay, so there was our letter grades. I think that people in the chat, please let us know what your letter grades are for Nintendo, PlayStation, and for Xbox. What I'm saying, nobody's wrong and
No,
nobody's right. I mean, these are
exactly.
our opinions. But I think that overall for 2022, it was a really solid year. There was a lot of great games that came out. Xbox just came up short when it came to the exclusives, but um, for them to do the things that they're doing to where people could still remain to play on the console because of Game Pass of keeping them afloat, that's pretty miraculous. But my top vote is definitely Nintendo. Nintendo has came with some heavy hitters without the Mario game or the Zelda game or the Metroid game. That's very impressive to me.
Yeah.
So, all right. Okay, we'll talk about the VGAs right fast. Well, this might not be right fast, but let's talk about the VGAs, right? So this is something that I'm going to be talking about on GRG Friday. And it was going to be a topic last week, but we didn't have enough time because of trivia, which I lost again. Which I don't know. I don't know if that's what, 4 in a row. After winning 2 in a row, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts. I'll be ready. I'll be ready next time. Um, but okay, so something that's bothered me with the VGAs for a long time is the fact of blending in genres into one category to kind of like make them throwaway to make them throwaway just categories because those genres are not as popular as other genres, and they kind of did it again with a game called Sifu. And not saying that they're throwing away Sifu, but it almost gives me the impression that they want to let Sifu win as many awards as possible, and so they put Sifu into the fighting category. So um, let me go ahead and look for this. Tell you the games that's going to be in here. Let's see, best fighting. All right, so the nominees for the best fighting game, DNF Duel, JoJo Bizarre Adventures All Star Battle R, King of the Fighters 15, Multiverse, and then there's Sifu. If you would ask anybody that doesn't follow fighters, right? The one game that most people will probably talk about is Multiverse because it's a free to play. It's a game that has Batman, Shaggy, people from Game of Thrones, LeBron. It's a really popular game, right? But my biggest problem because of the fact of these people won't know what DNF Duel is. they probably maybe watched an anime of JoJo Bizarre Adventure, but they don't know that was a fighting game out there like that. Because when I was showing gameplay of it, they were like, "Whoa, what fighting game is this?" And I tell them that King of the Fighters, they may have heard of it, but and so to me, that's a discredit to not only the Sifu itself, because it is in a sense because you're doing some kind of fighting, but that is a beat 'em up. That's not a fighter where it's 2-on-2 people, and Sifu is not even a co-op game anyway. So that game should not be into that category. And that's where I feel like they're just kind of placing Sifu there so they can get a that it can get a win over a genre that is not as big. It's not as big as it used to be. I don't know, Don. What do you feel about that? I mean, because they've done this before and I hated it with sports and racers. By discrediting sports games and racers by just kind of
simultaneously throwing them together.
Yeah, just a throwaway, just nominees. And that to me is just, I hate that. So what is your thoughts about this situation?
Well, I don't have any problems with them calling Sifu a fighter, because I think that's more of an umbrella term. And then as we drill down, there's what type of fighters are there's 1v1. There's 3D style 1v1 fighters. There's 2D style 1v1 fighters. There's beat 'em up fighters. I think I look at fighters as a hand-to-hand combat umbrella term. I've always looked at them that way. But if you look at how the VGAs categorizes it, right? This is their definition. They categorize it as more of a 1v1 versus fighter. If you look at how their definition of what they're calling it. So by their own definition, it should be disqualified.
Right.
In regards to that, why define it that way and then put a game like that in there? Because it discredits Sifu and it discredits all the other people that are eligible in that particular category. The whole point, I think, of a Game Awards, and I think this is lost on Jeff Keighley and it's lost on a lot of the media, gaming media out there, is it's a time for all these different types of games we have to shine, that we can all set our differences aside and we can just celebrate gaming as a whole. And I've been to the Game Awards twice. I wasn't part of a team was nominated. I just got an invite to come with them and stuff like that, right? And it changed my perspective of what it was for the creators of games, right? It was they didn't have any animosity against another team if they won or another. It's just like, hey, we worked really hard. We all got some recognition. Let's just celebrate gaming and celebrate all these different types and elements of gaming. In regards to that, it was a very good collaborative thing. But the problem is behind the scenes, all these nominees and the way all this stuff is done from, and I think every really diehard gamer is a fan of a particular platform. I don't really fault people for that. But what you're seeing is the culture within these game publishing outlets steering the conversation to where they want it to steer it towards, right? And it doesn't, and do you think gaming outlets, do you think they represent the average gamer? Or any gamer, for that matter? Outside of their own circle? And so that's the problem, because all these nominees come from places like, a GameStop, an IGN, a Kotaku, all their different opinions thrown into a bunch, and that's how they get these nominees, right? And so I don't think it's a representation of gaming as a whole in regards to that. And nothing wrong with Sifu getting recognition. They should get recognition if it's eligible for any of the categories that make sense. By all means, do it. But you got to show respect to the category, because that shows respect to the particular gamer that's a fan of that category. In regards to that, like, I know you're a diehard fighter guy, right? So, right. And probably your pick will not get picked. I mean, that's just a harsh reality. The chances are,
right?
Knowing you and your taste,
Multiverse would have got picked if Sifu was not in there. There's no doubt about it in my mind. But I would have given it to King of the Fighters 15.
But you would understand if Multiverse got it.
Right. I would have understood it. Yeah,
you would have like, okay, not my pick, but I get it. Right?
Right.
And then that
Right.
shows a respect from a gamer level of things. And these sort of games are being denied that because they're mixing these genres
Right.
up, and it's just
Right.
and Jeff Keighley's got to get his shit together on this. Like this is not a like a one time complaint. This is a multiple time complaint. I
Mhm.
think Seafood looks like a great game. I actually look forward to playing it.
Oh, I can't wait to
Yeah,
get my hands on it. Yeah.
but don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And by definition, I consider it a fighter. But your
Mhm.
definition that you have for that category is not what my definition is. So you have to
Mm.
disqualify it. Like you just have to call it what it is, right? And then maybe when you say fighter, maybe get a little bit more drilled more down. Okay, 1v1 fighters. Cool. Call it the category on 1v1 fighters. Call it that. Does that make sense? That way there's no debate, there's no questioning, that sort of thing, and things are categorized and represented properly in regards to that. Like, because by that same definition, I would consider God of War a fighter, right? Because it's a hand-to-hand
Right.
combat game, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
there's nothing
Right.
wrong with me thinking of it that way, but that's not what your definition is, not your
Right.
definition. And so you kind of have to own that, right? So like, how do you put Seafood but not God of War in the same category if that's how you've been in the rules? Doesn't make any
Right.
sense. So
Right.
like so to
Or
me,
even Elden Ring.
yeah, Elden Ring, right? Then again,
Yeah.
I would
Right.
classify it as a fighter, but it's not a 1v1 fighter. It's not a mono fighter, right? It's not that style fighter. And that's what the category is. So play homage to that particular category of game. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I like to see those games shine just like any other game. So yeah, that's kind of an issue. Like it's like taking MMOs and then putting Wolfenstein in there.
Right.
It just doesn't
Right.
work,
Right.
right? So
Yeah. Or putting a game like Wolfenstein because it has RPG elements, and then you put it in his best role playing game. Like, I mean, that's exactly what you would see.
but you can put Destiny in
from
that.
what.
But you can put
Yeah.
Destiny in that, right?
Right.
Because Destiny does fall in that
Right.
category. So
Right.
like you got to define
Right.
these things like in regards to that.
Right.
Or you can also have like a special category of new breakout category of game, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
and this is the game that kind of kicked this sort of thing off or whatever it is. So it's nothing against Sifu. I think from what I've seen, it looks like a good game. I look forward to playing it in regards to it. And if it's a really good game, it should deserve hopefully to win the categories that make sense that beats it out in the same category. But this is not the same category, and it's that same sort of definition of sports and racers things I've been complaining about the whole entire time. Like it makes
Right.
your fan base that watches this stuff, it makes them question, do you have alternative motives? And you should
Right.
avoid that. You should avoid that as as that sort of thing. Everyone can have some time to shine. I mean, shit, if you really, really hate the fact that this game would get this award or that, just do what you do every time, Keeley, and just give that award during a commercial break. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
do that
Right.
thing or whatever. But be fair to the categories. These teams work really hard. They're really passionate about these categories too, themselves, and so it's just be fair. I think it's a very reasonable perspective. So.
Yeah, I'm going to keep going because of this. Okay, so best sim strategy game, right? Okay, so the list here is Dune: Spice Wars, Mario Rabbit Sparks of Hope, Total War, Warhammer 3, 2 Points Campus, and Victoria 3. Now,
Okay.
I haven't played any of these games, but when you put best sim strategy game, and one of the more popular games that's out there that came out is uh uh um Age of Empires.
Did that come out this year?
Why is yeah,
Okay, I didn't
I
know.
thought it came out this year. Yeah,
I thought it was previous
I thought
year.
it came out this year.
I
It
thought
it it,
I
it
thought it was
might
a
have came
preview.
out last year, but maybe that's reason. But
Maybe that's why it's not in
regardless,
there. So, but let's say
maybe that's why that's in
hypothetically.
it. Hold on,
Let's
let me look at it. Let me hypothetically, because I could be wrong. Okay, let me look. Let me look.
I thought that was
Let me
last year,
look. Let me
man.
look. It could have been last year. It could have been last year. So I'm over here getting mad about that for nothing. But okay, when did that game? When did that, oh no, it came out. It came out October 2021. Okay, so yeah.
Okay.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. So,
Never-
but
All right, take that out.
but I see where you're coming
But
from.
I have more. I have more.
You have more. What's the
Don't
other
worry
one?
about it. Okay, so yeah, because we can skip that one because I was like, wait a minute, hold on, Age of Empires. Okay, so the other one, I was just looking at it. Let me look at that. Best ongoing game, right? Why
Okay.
is it that best ongoing game? Okay, so these are the games. Okay, Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy, what is it, 16, Fortnite, Genshin Impact. Now, all these games are worthy, right? Because they're all ongoing games.
Yeah.
But why is it that Sea of Thieves, it's increased its player engagement. It's increased its player engagement, and it's still not nominated. It still
I
has
got an answer
not
for you.
been nominated.
It's simple.
What's that?
It's the gaming media. They're not into that game. That's not their favorite, right? So if it's not their favorite, it's not the consumer's favorite.
Wow.
You see how that
works?
I
wouldn't say the Sea of Thieves will win. I would say Final Fantasy 16 because of its popularity has been, or Fortnite. But I mean, all these candidates are worthy. But I'm just kind of like, man, for a fourth year in a row, Sea of Thieves has not been nominated in a row. And it keeps increasing, and I don't know, but keep going. I'm sorry, that blows my mind too.
But the pattern's the same. It's been the same for this whole entire time, right? It's what's in the in crowd within the gaming media. Mm-hmm. They're dictating these nominees. So this shows you if that is increasing in numbers, regardless of how you may personally feel about Sea of Thieves, pro or con, right? Mm-hmm. But it's increasing in numbers, and people are enjoying, and people are interacting with it, and it continues to grow. And these outlets are not even considering it. Like, it's probably not even on their radar. Not probably not even anything intentional. It shows you how out of touch they are with the gamers out there.
I just don't know. Okay, so here's another list that kind of here's more. Oh yeah, there's more. I wasn't going to just leave it at just the fighting stuff. Okay, so best action adventure, right? Okay, so you got A Plague's Tale: Requiem. Okay, excellent. God of War: Ragnarok, excellent. Horizon Forbidden West, excellent. Tunic, okay, all right, I could rock with that. Yeah. Stray, what? Stray, you don't even have really true combat. This says best action adventure. What?
So it has the adventure, but not the action?
Yes. And I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Well, maybe they're treating that more like sports and racers. It's either or, right? It's not the combination.
There's plenty. There's plenty of other games out there. You got Dying Light 2. You got The Last of Us Part 1, if you wanted to put that in there. You got Tiny Tina's Wonder World. You got Evil West. You've got Track of Yomi. You have Fight Night Express. You got Bayonetta 3. You have the Pokemon Legends game. You have Sonic Frontiers. You have Cult of Lamb. You have Saints Row. I mean, even though Saints Row didn't do very well. You got Ghostwire Tokyo, Elden Ring. The list goes on of all these other games that I feel that are eligible. More eligible than Stray being in that category. That it just Elite Sniper Elite 5. Like, I'm looking at these lists of games and I'm like, what? I mean, I don't know. And that's what I'm saying. It's not about it like an Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo thing, because I've given you a whole list of
it's not about what you wanted to win either. Like, that's the thing.
It's about just like, what in the world?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, but to me that sounds like they're treating it just like they do sports and racing. It's an either or thing. Yeah. And that's fine if that's how you want to define the category. Define the category as an either or thing. I really wish that you wouldn't do that. I really wish you would stay true to what you're calling it and define it correctly. But then again, all this stuff is basically a bunch of people that work in the journalist side of things that don't work in an industry. they work in their own industry, right? It's industry adjacent, I would call it, right? And it shows that they're out of touch with certain things, and this is something I've been seeing for quite a while in regards to that. So, I mean, what happens to Jeff Keighley when eventually places like GameSpot and IGN and their influence dwindles in comparison to the average YouTube channel? Because eventually that's going to happen, right? So why are they making those decisions? Why are they, you know what I mean? Right.
I don't know.
So how do you go forward from there? So, you know, do you have people in the industry, like actual developers, nominate other studios? Is that how you handle it going forward? Because I'm sure they would do a better job. Just allow them allow them not to vote for themselves, right? And then fill out the survey. That's all the requirement is, and I guarantee you would get more accurate nominees out there.
Right. And then like that's what I'm saying. Like, and it's not like these guys don't add more categories, because they seem to do it every year. So when you have best racer, best sports game, you can have 2 categories for the best racers and for the best sports games. Like, it makes me sick every time that like you see, you know, how Xbot and Sir X-Man and all of them was playing golf the other year, because well, the new golf has came out this year. Like, that game should get credit to be nominated for best sports game of the year with Madden and NBA 2K. And for, you know, MLB The Show or whatever, you know, hockey or FIFA or whatever, like those games should be should also get recognition. Just like the racers should also have their own category as well. If you're going to add content creator of the year, and then like best best esports coach, best esports event,
best gaming life coach.
yes. Best esports game. Like, those are, you know what I'm saying? Those are, I know that like 3 of the 5 that I just mentioned are definitely new categories. So it's not like you can't split some of these categories up and just have the opportunity to do it. But no, what you'd want to do is add, and I ain't got no problem if you want to do best content creator of the year and all that other stuff. But instead of you having a musical act to come in and do an extra song, take that time out, or just like what you said, during a commercial break, just kind of throw them out there. Oh, and this is who, and have one of the women that usually are the host come out and just give you a list, or just throw that shit on the screen and just kind of say, oh, this is what won, let's keep it moving. There's so many ways to do that. I just don't understand it. If it wasn't for, and which was very smart for Jeff Keighley to do and his team to do, was to make this kind of like a baby E3-ish type of event, I would not be watching the VGAs. I would not, because I don't care really. I mean, it's as a gamer, I would like to see the games that I play have the opportunity to be nominated. They don't necessarily have to win, because I mean, it's all a popularity contest anyway. It's not like I'm not going to listen to Tupac because he never won. He never won. Well, I think he did win, but I'm saying it at the time when I was listening to Tupac when he first came out, that he wasn't winning or wasn't even nominated. It's not like I'm going to stop listening to him because somebody else got it, because Puffy got it. No, I'm caring more about the situation of, like, I'm still going to play the games I play, but I'm just like, let these games have the recognition that they need. Because as I support these games, and I go in here and I jump in these lobbies, a lot of people, if I'm streaming these fighters, they're like, what fighter is this? Well, if they had the category to where people would watch the VGAs and they see, oh, DNF Duel, okay, that's on PlayStation and on PC. I think I might go ahead and cop that. That's on sale. Now we got more people that supporting the games. Like, that to me is what's important, not it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy.
No, I mean I'm in the same boat as you, but I've already accepted this is the case many years ago, right? Like, this is not new news in regards to that. This is just like, here we go again. So I just want him to be fair.
And Yobi said something that
Yeah, about
Yobi said something in the
WWE.
chat. He said, yeah, which, you know what? I bought WWE Day One and I played it a few times. It is very, very, very good. It is very good. I haven't gone back and play it. I need to go back and play it
Fair.
with friends. But Yobi and them has been on it like crazy. I've seen a lot of praise, especially of how bad that game was 2 years before, 2 or 3 years prior, when the last WWE, which that game, they people thought that game was probably, they were on, that was it. They probably would not even make another one of those games, or they didn't trust 2K to make a proper WWE game, and this last game was really, really good. Matter of fact, I'm finna buy all the rest of the DLC, if not at the end of the year when they have their other sale. Definitely get it at the beginning of the year. So, and then, do some streaming with that. But yeah, no, I mean, that game should have been in the place of Sifu. I just don't understand it. Well, I know I understand. I can't keep saying I don't understand it, because I do. I just hate to feel that there is a ulterior motive, because I don't have a problem with Jeff Keighley, but Jeff Keighley has things going on with that show that just is blatant right in your face. And I still try to have the benefit of the doubt, when in reality I shouldn't. I should just call it for what it is. That's where it's becoming. That's where it's going to. That's where it's leading to. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I get what if he wants the pristine of, like, like movie awards, but in the game format, he's got to clean up, right? Like, that's just the harsh reality. He has to clean up. He has to also find a way that it's not just the same circle of people that are making the decisions on these sort of things as well, on the nominees. Right. I don't think that's fair either. So that's just something they're gonna have to work through in regards to that. But right now, you can tell me Game Awards is coming. I have no faith in it being fair. There's always going to be something that's just messed up. That's not a fair representation. But I will say, from the developers that sit there in the audience, it's almost kind of like they're on their own little circle as well. It's not like they're really interacting all that much with the media personalities. Does that make sense? They do what they have to, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But I can tell you right now, the conversations are a lot different with the media personality near the same circle versus just the developers. Much different conversations. I'll leave it at that. And so it does mean something to developers, but it's just like this weird thing where the industry tries to pat themselves on the back, but it's the media people driving all of it. And I don't think it's a really clear representation how gamers feel as a whole, in regards to that. And I think it's just this continuous force influence on gaming that's dying. Any given point in time, you can look at any game on YouTube. If you, for example, I'm playing through Gunglaive Gore or whatever it is.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can type that in YouTube. Guess what? Majority of the things that show up probably are not IGN, not GameStop. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Right. And then even when they do get that kind of that shot at when something first drops, they don't stay there when you look up that particular game. So their relevancy just keeps dropping year over year. Matter of fact, I think the traffic at IGN is way down. Like, prior to, remember when, like, the Xbox One generation hoopla all happened? It's well below that number back then. So they're weaning. They're going to have to start doing cutbacks, especially with the economy and stuff like that. And the reality is, where are those talents going to go? They're going to make their own YouTube channel, right? Now they're going to compete with their old employer, right? They're going to know how to game that. They bring their following along with them, right? Then they're going to be competing with people like you and me or whatever when we're throwing it out there, right? And so that pie keeps growing, but it keeps chipping away at these big media outlets, and it's going to get to a point where they're completely irrelevant.
They're going to be gone.
They're irrelevant.
Right.
Either they're gone or they're irrelevant.
I couldn't tell you what I can tell. Every blue moon, I'll check out something from IGN. And that's not saying that I have a problem with IGN or whatever like that. It's not. I find myself reading articles more than I used to always get the magazines and stuff like that, but I just found myself just reading the articles, but watching videos on content on from the big three or big four, five, whatever. I don't anymore. I just don't.
Yeah.
If I want to watch something, I watch a YouTube video of a content creator or somebody that I know that's a content creator and just go from there.
Or Game
You're right.
Pass.
No, you're
Game Pass
100%
chips away at that too, right? Because now you can't claim like I have the higher moral ground. I want to let people know if this game's good or not before they spend their hard-earned money. Well, I already spent money on
Right.
Game Pass, so I'm sorry. I'm not going to bother with your review. I'm going to download it. I'm going to play it.
Right. I'm gonna. Yeah.
So,
You know the one thing that bothers me more than anything, like when people see me playing a game,
yeah.
and then they'll ask, "How is it?" It's on Game Pass. Download it. Like I understand that they're just asking me, and so I give them, but that just bugs me.
I
Because I'm like,
I don't think people know though. Like I don't think people always. It's not their
Like-
default check. You know what I mean?
like, well, I mean, if you follow the same people that are in the same wheelhouse of who we know, even if you didn't see my tweet and saying that the post where this game is at, you got it from Colt, you got it from Dealer, you got it from Xbot, you got it from 108, you got it from Griggity, you got it from someone. You know what I'm saying? You got it from someone else that's in the same wheelhouse because most likely some of the same people kind of if not follow, but they still kind of befriend the other people that they're cool with. So you get it from Boom, you get it from anybody. So like from the Iron Lords, whatever. See that, and so why are you still asking me? You know what I'm saying? How is it? If it's in Game Pass, if you've seen it in Game Pass, and maybe they're just asking to get my point of view on it. And so I'm like, I still give it to him, but I'm thinking to myself, yo, bro, it's in Game Pass.
But some people
download
also
it.
like to know if it's if it's worth their time or not, right? Or they want to share if they like it or not.
I don't like to ever tell people like if I don't, but and I get that, but for me, it's like just experience the game for yourself because I don't want to lead you astray by saying that this game is not good. That's why you never hear me say. It's very rare when you hear me say that a game is not good.
Hey, Mega,
and I would say
that ship has sailed, man. That ship has sailed. You're an influencer, regardless if you like it or not. People like to know your opinion about stuff. Like that's something you're gonna have to get comfortable with, my man. You're gonna have to get real comfortable with that.
I guess so. I just don't like to. I just don't want. I just like people to experience it themselves. Like just sit down for a hot minute.
But you also go against the grain.
Hour.
You're a gamer that goes against the grain too, as well, right?
I do too.
So you don't really give a shit what other people are saying out there in the ether for street credit. You play what
do not care,
and that's the reason why they value your opinion.
Okay,
you're not doing it because you're popular.
You make that sound so nice.
It's reality. You're gonna have to deal with it. Okay. But that's the thing, right?
Well, thank you, people. I'm sorry for being an ass for thinking like, why are you asking me this question? So now Don is over here putting me in a perspective of now where I feel bad. So when people ask me, I'm like, oh, I got to give them an answer.
No. Well, but this should encourage you to go out and play games and share that with people, and that's a positive thing in regards to that. Because that's why I say, like, I don't really give a shit if someone has a negative opinion about something. Let them speak, right? But also let the other side speak is my take on it. And as long as we have gamers that they're looking and trying to find the right thing, and those people can interact with one another, I think all these games will find homes and will find some level of success. So I think that's important to have those conversations in regards to that. Think about all the conversations you get dragged into. Someone asking if you like a game is the least of your problems.
Oh no! That's 100% true. It just kind of like, man, just download the game. You just experience on your own. But yeah, okay. Since you put it in that perspective, that now kind of make me feel bad now for what I said. But it's okay.
You're the changing of the guard, and you don't even know it. Like that's the thing.
You're right.
These gamers are
pay attention to it. Yeah.
These gamers are the changing of the guard, and sometimes I don't think people realize it because you're in the moment. I mean, I don't realize it. I'll think about it afterwards. But like, I'll be streaming a game, and I'll get something new. Like for example, we have Forza playing in the background here. Like some new content came out for Forza. I go play some Forza, and they're like, "Oh man!" And people just like to talk about what type of cars they like, or do you like this car? You like that car? It's about sharing that experience that that we all like as gamers. So I have to keep that in mind too, that like we're just trying to do that sort of stuff. We're just trying to find people that engage in that have a similar interest in regards to that. So you're a trusted gamer. That's why you're asking you. So
That's true.
put that
Okay,
in
so now I
perspective.
got it. So I
So
apologize. Sorry. I had different intentions in my head, different thoughts, but I've seen the light.
so and
Appreciate
and every time K Mega game streams, just ask in his comment section, how do you like the game?
it.
just flood his comment section of all his game streams. That'd be great.
Light me up. Yeah. What do you think of the game? Okay. Well, yeah. All right. Well, that's a good. Oh, I do need to ask you this, and then we'll get to the last topic and then get out of here.
Okay.
Okay. So game of the year. I'm going to give you a list and what game you think that should be game of the year from your perspective. Okay. So A Plague's Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, or Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Those are the nominees for game of the year this year for the BGAs.
So should I give two answers? The answer I think it's going to win, the one I would probably pick.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Who do you think is going to win, and what do you think?
I think Plague's
which one
Tale
do you
is
pick?
kind of an industry darling amongst publishers. So I feel like because there's always that kind of element of industry darling sort of thing.
Will they be the darling if Microsoft picks them up?
That hasn't happened yet, so it is what it is.
Well,
right?
right, yeah.
And then and it's funny to say, right? Because I spend 80 to 90% of my time on my Xbox or my PC. Out of that list, it would probably be Horizon Zero Dawn. I know that one wasn't as well received, that people say it was boring, but I like the game. So I like the first one, so I would imagine I would like the second one. I'd probably have to go Horizon, because God of War 1, I didn't the reboot with the annoying kid really drove me nuts, and I don't know how less annoying this kid is this time around.
Oh no, they say he's bad. I've seen clips. He's a monster.
Okay.
Like he's getting down with Kratos, like with he's raw. So yeah, no, he's not what he was in the first game.
Okay,
So
well, regardless,
rest assured with that.
Regardless,
Yeah.
based on my previous experience of playing both the earlier iterations and have not played in these iterations, I would probably put my hat in Horizon Zero Dawn. In regards to
Oh
that.
wow,
So-
okay. So you think that Requiem will be the one to win, and because it's the darling, but you're going for Forbidden West. Okay, all
Yeah.
right. That's definitely different. That's thinking outside the box for sure. Okay, so for me, what I think will win, it will probably be God of War.
You think so?
Not really, but I'm just saying it.
So you're saying from an industry perspective?
From an industry perspective, I think that they'll give it to God of War.
Okay.
But for me, Elden Ring, hands down.
Oh, that's right.
Now, yeah, Elden Ring, hands down. Because there's games that are special, and
Yeah.
Elden Ring is in that category. Because
Gotcha.
I hate that genre. I do not. I mean, Bloodborne was acceptable. Sekiro was acceptable. But I never did beat those games. I never completed them. I said I'll get back to them eventually. I find something else to take my time. And instead of me wanting to be butchered and upset and angry, Elden Ring did just changed everything for me in that genre. I probably will never ever get into a Dark Souls game. In the titled game, but if they drop a Elden Ring 2 day one, Ultimate Edition, not even a question.
You don't even care if it's $70.
Don't even. No, I'm not. You heard me say Ultimate Edition. I want to buy the
Shut Up
big
edition.
package. I'm not.
Yeah, the Shut Up
Yeah,
edition.
I'm getting the Shut Up Edition. I'm getting the Shut Up Edition. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not, so
Gotcha.
still not. If it's, still not getting the standard $70 version. No, I'm getting the Shut Up Edition. So yeah, that's for me is that it's special.
Okay.
I can't put a finger on. Well, no, I'm lying. I can't put a finger on it. It's just the fact that something that you despise, like Don. I don't know. I really don't know what kind of genre of gaming that you don't like. So I mean, what's there a genre of something that you're just not fond of?
Turn-based RPGs.
Okay, turn-based RPG.
There
Let's
was
just say that
so I know where
Yeah.
you're going with this. So
Yeah.
here's my exception.
Okay, all right.
Mario RPG. I love that game.
That is a great game. That is absolutely great.
Yeah, I mean it's an old one, right? But
Yeah.
turn-based, like you know, like people are fans of SquareSoft. Like I get the appeal, like from the outside looking in, but it's never.
You said the old name. It's Square Enix. You said SquareSoft. Boy, you took it back. Okay.
But that's what made who made Mario RPG. They made it for Nintendo. Back in the day.
Okay. You're right. You're right.
So
you're right.
So that was my personal favorite turn-based RPG. Right? Is it the best? No, probably not. I mean, I don't play enough to really be the judge of that. But it was something special. It made me kind of get out of that that box that I was in, right? And I'm feeling this is what you're trying to say about I want to call it Dark Souls. Elden Ring is that it was a category of game that you wrote off entirely. But once you played this, it opened your heart to it, and that's awesome.
Yeah. That's exactly what it did. I couldn't. I call myself sometimes in awe of me putting in the effort. Like I would sit there and I would go back and I would like, wait, how long have I been playing this game? 13 hours. What? I did a workday shift. What? 10 hours. What? Like I would trip myself out sometimes, like because my wife would be would be saying would go to bed, and she would like kiss me goodnight, stuff like that, and then and she usually tends to go to bed early, and then next thing you know, she's up. She's like, "You're still playing that game?" Huh? And I'm so focused on what's going on. I don't recognize that there's sun rays coming out of my screen, out of my window. I don't know. I'm just so locked in, and she's getting ready to go to work. I'm like, what?
See, the disappointment thing is you didn't stream that game because we could have done a time lapse with your beard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For real. You would have seen the beard grow. It is insane. Like I and that's the Yobi and them would say like, yeah, Mega's gone, man. Like, where's Mega? Gone, Jack. That game, like I put in more time into Elden Ring than I did The Witcher 3. So put that in perspective. And so that's why I'm saying like Elden Ring, hands down, nothing is close to it, even though I know Requiem is going to be a special game. I have not got a chance to play it yet because I was on Persona 5 Royale.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, and I think that will probably be the set, that could throw a lot of people out of the loop. What you said was absolutely plausible. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be a thing where Requiem could just steal the show.
I think it's going to.
It is.
It's that industry darling.
It's not out of the possibility.
I wouldn't say it's the best game out of all that group by any means, but from an industry darling perspective, I'm thinking like there's people that write those articles, right? And then the people they talk to within the, within their circle and how they kind of, have their own culture of what they like in regards to that. But Elden Ring, I mean, I can see that winning it too, though. Like I can see it from both a good middle ground between the gamer and the people that write the reviews, both kind of liking it. if that makes any sense.
Hmm.
So I can see it from that perspective, but it is what it is. So
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, in my heart, soul, and everything, I know that's gaming. Elden Ring should be the winner,
my big question
because of how special it is.
is not
Yeah.
all these nominees, because like we know the game is not quite right, but my question is, what announcements we're gonna see?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I believe Tekken 8 will be revealed. Hellblade 2 will get another full, like, and maybe even a date for Hellblade 2. Um
Mm-hmm.
oh my goodness. I see Sony throwing out a Spider-Man 2 something to get people to start talking about PlayStation. Um I think that would be the perfect place to do that, since Sony has not had an event in I don't know how many years now. Oof.
Are
Um,
we gonna see anything because of this dispute with Activision?
uh,
You know what I'm talking about?
that's that. Yeah, no, that. Yeah, no, 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 no.
That
Yeah,
throws a
like no,
wrench
I
into
don't.
things. I think that's why Sony hasn't
It
shown
does.
any like a ton of showcase this year, because
Oof.
they don't want to seem like the dominant market leader in any sort of way, right? So,
Oh, yeah, that is true. Yeah,
so is it?
yeah,
Are they doing this game of chicken like they did with the console prices? You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah,
are they doing
yeah.
that this time around with their content? So I'm wondering if
That would be.
it's going to be really
Yeah,
light
that's a
this
great point.
year. Like I don't maybe the
Well,
platform providers.
third party will be hot. There will be some real, because Street Fighter 6 is definitely going to be shown there. I have no question. I feel Tekken is going to be shown, but I'm now starting to believe that Tekken won't be coming out until 2024. But I
That's
still
fine.
think, and maybe whatever NetherRealm has got cooking up will be shown.
They're the most due
Finally,
for something to show something.
they're definitely due. I don't know, but yeah, no, but at least with Microsoft, I think if anything, if they show anything, which they should, it has to be Hellblade, and it has to be either Avowed and Starfield, or Starfield and um
Game Pass
maybe
commercial.
Forza or something else. Yeah,
It's just going to be a
something
Game
else.
Pass commercial.
Something else.
That's
Oh
all.
God, stop it.
That's all it's going to be. That's all it's going to
That's
be.
all it's gonna be. Microsoft gonna play chicken too? Oh my goodness.
I think that it
Yeah.
is, until this stuff is settled. A lot of things are just kind of, there's too much money on the line. I think a lot of
Yeah,
things.
there's a lot
There's
of
a
money
lot.
on the line.
There's a lot of like, don't screw this up sort of thing. And so yeah, I
It
would
got dark. It got dark. It's getting dark out here.
yeah. So I would see third party being a thing, but I think the platform providers, maybe Nintendo will have some sort of surprise, but
Maybe show Zelda or something like that.
yeah, if there wasn't this Activision deal on the line, I would have all sorts of predictions. I would say we would see Fable.
Oh wow, that would be different.
Fables
That would
do.
be different.
Fables do.
Fable is definitely due. Fable is definitely due. I feel Avowed is due too. So at least one of those. At least one of those. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. Like I this is so up in the air. I don't know. So I am anticipating a really good show on that end.
Hmm.
That's why my eyes are going to be glued to it. So
Yeah.
yeah, because this will be probably the biggest year for them showing fighters at that type of event. So I'm really intrigued by it. So yeah, I can't wait to see something. Now, if Xbox doesn't show any of those games because they want to play chicken, and you say that they want to do something with Game Pass, then if they show a Game Pass game that came out, that was like a Kina or Sifu,
I don't
or
even think they're gonna do that.
You don't think they're gonna? That's gonna be wild.
I
You're
can just
right.
say
That's a
it's
possibility.
X number of dollars a month, and you get
It's
100
a
games.
possibility.
I think that's what you're gonna get.
Wow.
Maybe Elite controller.
That's a possibility.
Maybe a new Elite controller.
Oh wow! Stop that. Oh yeah, the Elite 3. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Yeah, that could be. That could be. Okay.
Yeah, but
All right. Let's go ahead and get. Okay, what are you going to say?
But I think they're going to be reserved. I think this is going to be. I don't think this is going to be your typical reveal. I will say that this time around. Maybe I'm wrong.
From Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah, from Xbox and PlayStation. I think we're going to get a little game of chicken. And if I'm wrong, I welcome it. You know, I'm more than happy to say I'm wrong about that sort of thing. But I think plans have changed. It's a little weird right now. So.
Yeah, that is that there is a strong possibility with that. Okay, all right, let's get to the last topic. Yeah, because we've been talking since it was broad daylight. Now I had to turn on one of the backlights.
Yeah, now you're 2 hours ahead of me.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about Halo.
Okay.
Going out of here, and this is a question that we was talking just one-on-one.
Yeah,
and I kind of want to make this public to see, what people think and get their perspective of it. And there are the rumors, of course, that they're going to make a standalone. Well, I don't think that's a rumor anymore, that they're going to be doing a standalone Halo game. The rumor is that they're most likely looking to get away from the slip space engine because of the fact that the lead developer or designers
programmer
or whatever, a couple other people left. So that kind of leaves the slip space in limbo a little bit. So is there a possibility that Halo Infinite, the multiplayer, will get all the updates that they're doing right now, and then they'll just leave it be, and then they'll start over again on a different multiplayer? Or do you think that they'll still keep the strategy and ship the Halo Infinite multiplayer with whatever new Halo game that they're going to that's supposed to be slated to be coming out in 2024, 2025?
Yeah.
Where do you think that Halo lies? And especially if it's still if the multiplayer is going to be in slip space, then you would think that the single player will be in slip space as well. But from all indications, they're thinking about going with Unreal 5 from what we've heard from the background. So I don't know, Don, what do you think about this whole crazy situation? What will happen with Halo Infinite?
I'm still torn if they're switching engines or not.
Okay.
Because it's not uncommon, because a lot of this rumor mill is coming from that other company working on that special mode for them. And there's a lot of insight that they're working in on Unreal Engine 5, but it's not uncommon for, like, if you have a staff that's really familiar with a particular engine, and they'll prototype something out into that engine and then port over into something else. Does that make sense? Kind of keep the pipeline of things moving. In regards, is it efficient? It's not the most proficient, and you're better off learning the engine you're going to work in regards to that. But I've worked at studios where, like, they would prototype everything in Unity and then port everything to Unreal. It drove me nuts, but that's what we did. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that could be where this rumor could be coming from in regards to that, because maybe certain feature sets are not ready in not Unreal, but the Slip Space engine and all that sort of stuff. Now, my opinion is if in the pipeline down the road, if 343 doesn't have a solution for Lumen and Nanite, right? Because there's always, every engine's got their own version of these sort of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they do not come up with a solution to that in their pipeline, hang it up now. You are going to be so dated. You're not going to be able to keep up. I'm playing games now that people say are beautiful, and they are, but they look so dated to me now, just because of the stuff I've been working on a daily basis in Unreal. It's just a whole nother level that people don't understand. it's they're making it easier so we can target different frame rates with all the nanite and lumen features. Obviously, that stuff scales, of course, but the games are just looking what you're able to put together in a short period of time is just ridiculous. So I just don't think I don't think the Slip Space engine can compete if they don't have their own technical solution for those things. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
so that would be the incentive to go that way. The other thing is Unreal Engine 5 is was previous Unreal Engines, I should clarify, have never been really that great at open world sort of games. How they partition all the elements what you would do in an open world, and that's what they call it, partitioning, where it basically you're taking group of LUDs and processing like just like in a region essentially, right? So kind of a group, sort of like we load this LUD in instead of individually loading that in. And the way the partitions work on older Unreal Engine, I think that's the reason why they didn't use Unreal Engine for Halo Infinite. I think that's the reason why they were messing with it and didn't decide to go with it. The new Unreal Engine, hands down, new Unreal Engine can do everything that they're needed to do. So if they take that route, they could port everything they've worked on, bring it on over, and start working on new assets. Does that make sense? So you just port
Yeah.
everything over, and it can have the multiplayer be that continuous thing. And I think that would be the smart thing to do. So
Okay. Magnetic Storm asked, 25 asked, does Unreal Engine 5 going to encounter problems with foliage? I heard that it's not. I don't
So there
think
are
it does.
so there is a nanite, which is the high density mesh sort of thing. You can only
Uh-huh.
apply it to certain types of objects. Like you can't apply really
Okay.
nanite
Okay.
to like an animated character, like you're seeing in the background. Anything that has deformation to the model, so that means skeleton structure, bones bending, that sort of thing. And foliage was one of those other things too. So depending on how many like level of detail you have, typically you would have anywhere from 3 to 5 levels of detail, and typically the last one is it looks like a cardboard cutout, right? There's no three-dimensional things, it's just a single plane with a mask and a generic texture, right? Um, with nanite now with foliage, you can apply nanite to foliage now. That's with not Unreal Engine 5 but 5.1 that just released. And not only did the foliage is more consistent, you see it in games like Forza Horizon, like the latest Forza
Mhm.
Horizon, when you do the higher frame rate mode, you see like random pop-ins of the level of detail suddenly changing really close to the driver, sort of thing.
Mhm.
That sort of thing is a thing of the past with what you can do with nanite in foliage now, and it's crazy because now you have no pop in, and that's the thing that we're not accustomed to. We see pop in, we just kind of ignore it, that sort of thing. But when you start seeing like nanite running on all this stuff, everything from foliage to other geometry of like buildings and stuff like that, and you don't see that pop in because it literally every frame it's drawing uh, a new mesh essentially each frame. It's incredibly smooth. It's a different level of smooth that people are not accustomed to. So
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. I mean, me myself personally, I would, I do enjoy Infinite's multiplayer. It's what I've said before is that uh, it shows 343 is very capable of making great, um, uh, making great content. Just doing they're skilled at what they do at their craft, because it's what I've said is before is that in order to make Infinite satisfy people like us who are into Halo 4 and 5, and then for the people who are more into Halo 1 through Reach, or 1 through 3, they had to try to combine them, and they did it, and they did it well. But the issues with the desync, there's still issues with that. Like,
yeah,
there's still other problems within the game that still just hasn't been resolved yet. And for me, it's kind of like, you know what? If you need to just go ahead and just keep the same formula, but just redo the multiplayer in a different light. Still keep some of the same things that you were wanting to do with the free to play feature. Which again, since you have those artists and everything, so we could get a better aesthetic because that old look, it- some of those looks just don't look appealing to me compared to what they did in Halo 5. Halo 4 and Halo 5 had some of the best looking Spartans, custom Spartans that I've ever seen. Like uh, uh, Infinite is hit and miss sometimes. So
It,
do
it,
the Unreal Engine 5. Just start over, or if you know,
yeah.
like you said, if you could take it and implement whatever that you're doing, do that, and then just put Halo Infinite into the Master Chief Collection, and just keep it. But make sure that you finish doing all the content that you said that you were going to do.
Yeah.
End it by season 3, and then just or season 4 or 5, whatever,
Yeah.
and just put that puppy into the Master Chief Collection, and just move on.
Well,
That's my thoughts on
I
it.
would say is keep it consistent. Like, not only meet your
Yeah,
promises, but use it as a stopgap as you're working on your next iteration. Does that make sense?
right,
And
right,
so keep the
right.
flow going. Build the consumer confidence in 343. I think it's crucial.
Mm-hmm.
They need to do
Right.
that. They need to start. They're starting all over on that right now, right? So
Yeah, oh, yeah.
they need
It's
to build that.
from day one.
Yeah,
Scratch.
because so they just need to show that they're in it to win it. In regards to that and make it right, and then yeah, go forward from there in regards to that. So we'll see where they go. If it's going to be just Halo Infinite rinse and repeat, that's fine. If they release a complete product, to be honest with you, I'll even take that. You know what I mean? Co-op on
Mm-hmm.
day one. Don't give me 3 maps. Give me like 10 maps, and then at least 3 or 4 classic ones. Carry over the older
Right.
maps, right, from Infinite. And the visual style, like, I mean, that's hit or take. I don't like the old style. Like, it reminds me of, like, hey man, you see somebody with a TV with a fat back on it or a VCR, it doesn't look right in a living room anymore, right?
Yeah, right, right.
And it's not representative. I think if you tell the story from a technology standpoint, like, they don't look like superheroes. They look like, you know what I mean? Like dad bods playing cosplay, like it's just not there, man. It's just not the answer.
Yeah,
But
no, I just yeah.
yeah,
And the people that was supposedly that were all for what they did, they abandoned the old guard that wanted Halo 1 through 3, they abandoned it.
yeah,
They're back on Master Chief Collection or on something else.
which is fine.
Um
I have no
yeah, I mean,
problem
no,
with that.
that's
So
fine, but I think now that hopefully that 343 and Xbox have learned, do what you want to do with your IPs. Innovate it, make it happen, because again, there's going to be people that don't like me saying this, but I will keep reminding people that Halo 5 is still overall the better product. It sold more, generated more money than Halo Infinite. And it's not even close.
yeah,
Not even close.
yeah.
So yeah, just do what you have to do. And if people don't like it, that's fine. But that's what you have the Master Chief Collection for. And just keep adding
The
more
f-
content to that. And
the
and,
fan
and then one
base
thing I would
is
also say is
go
too.
ahead. Sorry.
Well, my last point to this, what I wanted to say is too, put Halo 5 on PC. Give it an opportunity to see what it can do on. Don't put it into the Master Chief Collection if you don't feel like that's warranted. But at least make a port for the PC. Get it out there. What's the point? What's the point of not giving the opportunity to have people that has not played it on Xbox to not have it to be played on PC?
And make it
That
crossplay,
yeah, and make it crossplay. Yeah,
because
that's I don't see a problem with that.
if they did that today, I would stop
Mhm.
playing Halo Infinite and go back to 5.
Oh, I would be on Halo 5 immediately, and I would be
Yeah,
playing it on the PC. Yeah,
yeah,
no doubt, no
yeah.
doubt,
Just
no
because
doubt.
the only reason I'm not playing
Yeah,
5 is because the user base has died down so low. It takes a really long
right,
time to get in certain matches or certain types of matches
right,
in regards to that,
right.
which is be expected when you release a new product. It's the only reason why I'm playing Infinite right now. The only reason. So yeah, preserve 5. 5 was a good game. It didn't deserve the hate that I got, but I get it if it's not for everybody. So
Right. Same. Okay. All right. Well, great points. We'll just end it off with that. We'll see what happens with Halo. I'm looking forward to getting back and playing on the multiplayer and stuff again. Um,
this Saturday,
I said yeah, this Saturday. I'm with it. So
if we
can
get a
definitely
lot
do
of
it.
people,
Or if we can find enough people to play Crackdown 3, so we can just do a little of that, then go to Halo, I'm with that as well.
okay.
So it is what it is. But yeah, no, I'll be streaming again this Saturday with you guys. So definitely look forward to it. So
Well,
anyway, so where can they find you at, Don?
the best thing to do is you're following this live, which is the Dawn Gaming Live. This is where I do my live streams, do basically just gameplay with you guys, all that sort of stuff. It is where Devin the Gamer is launched, and then it is also then the following day, if you don't catch it live, you can catch it on K Mega's channel as well. In regards to that, and yeah, and then I also have another channel which is a Dawn underscore KTR, which is my content creation channel. More content will be going on there on a regular basis. Just talking to Mega about how I got a lot of stuff in the works, and I'm hoping to January 1st start having all that stuff uploaded and ready to go, so that channel will be up and going again. And then if you like what you saw here, hit the likes, hit the subscribes, and you can also follow me on Twitter. So
No doubt, no doubt. And as you can follow me on Twitter at KMega4. On Hive, since I got an account on Hive, it's KMega405 or KMega4. I think it's KMega4. Also, I'm on TikTok now, so it's KMega405. Then on my YouTube channel, KMega405. On the Xbox, KMega405. The only thing that's different is really PlayStation is KPOC 405. So go check me out on PlayStation when you catch me, and even on Switch, it's still KMega 405. I might change it back to KMega 405 on PlayStation. I got so much hate when I had it when I had it before, so that's why I changed it to K-pop. But I think that probably, yeah. I mean, it was crazy. I kept getting so many messages. The way you doing on PlayStation, I was like, oh my god. Anyway, so, but yeah.
I wonder if someone else will end up with that name, and now they're getting all that same hate.
Now I gotta. You know what? I'll come up with a funny name. I'll come up with a funny name for sure. But anyway, yeah, come check me out those places. And I'm back to doing the streaming. I streamed Fight Night last night, and trying to get back into the role of everything. It was really good. It was actually really more positive than I thought, because I thought I was going to get my head beat in. But I have to say, Yobi playing with that Bullet and DBG fighters, he's a problem. He's a problem. I'm going to have to get back into the Soul Kitchen and start practicing again. So, because he kind of beat me down a couple of times at the last part of the Fight Night.
Does he play with a smirk on his face?
He does. I'm sure
you can tell he has a little smirk as he does it.
Oh yeah, because he was doing some. I was dusting him off pretty good, and then he started figuring some things out, and then at the last, and I was getting tired too because I haven't streamed in so long. So, but that's no excuse. He still dusted me those last 2-3 rounds. So I had to. So I got to show improve. But I also played Dead or Alive. It was fun doing that, and then I played Mortal Kombat 11, which I haven't played in a long time. So it was just good to be back into the saddle. So. I'm really back into the regiment. So anyway, so check all that stuff out. GRG podcast comes out on Friday nights, 8 p.m. And the next podcast on Xbox 448's channel is on Thursdays. That's at 7 p.m. Central. Come check us out there. And yeah, the Devin the Gamer when we get a chance. Usually every other week, something like that. But yeah, thank you guys, and I hope y'all had a good holiday, good Thanksgiving, and hopefully everything else will be safe for you guys, and we'll get to see you guys again.
All right, later.